Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, again, this is me, Stacy, and Tina from Rev'd Consulting. And we're here live today. We're trying something new. Last couple of videos we uploaded, but we said, you know what, let's go live. You never know who may jump on.
Yeah.
Right, Tina?
Yeah.
And ask a question or two.
So input your comments and your questions, and
Yes.
we'll try to answer them while we're on.
Yes, and before we even go through what we're going to share with you today, just want to remind you that our website is revdconsulting.com, and there you will find more information about what we represent, what our business model is, and of course, it's an opportunity for you to reach out to us directly if you have some business practice concerns related to your physician practice. Maybe there's some hiccups that you have that you need help with resolving. That is how you can reach out to us through revdconsulting.com. Okay, so I guess we'll start. We're going to talk to you a little bit today about how to create a successful framework. And as you all know, Rev'd Consulting is primarily focused on building up people, leaders, and staff to feel encouraged, empowered, and positive, so that they can, in effect, be successful at doing the job. The job is getting paid for claims that are created from physicians, notes, and of course office visits that patients, of course, will be a part. Well, the patient process of having the notes created and a claim created for payment. So the goal is for us to help the practices get paid quickly, promptly, with good results.
Right, and to teach you the basics so you'll be confident in, I like to say, taking control and managing your own revenue cycle, so you know exactly what to do step by step. You'll have all the tools and all the knowledge you need to know to be able to really boost up your revenue pretty quickly and effectively.
Yes.
Without spending an exorbitant amount of money on a bunch of outside services.
Yes. And so today's topic again is how do you create a framework for success. Rev'd has a framework for success that we've built into our curriculum that really has solid bedrocks for building great organizations, great people, and those bedrocks we'll share with you later, maybe, not today, but another time, and certainly you can get the full scope of those bedrocks when you sign up for a course.
So maybe a little bit about our course before we move into the topic. So we are actually going to launch an online hybrid course where it's going to be a mix of both online learning and you'll have direct communication with both Stacy and I as your revenue cycle coaches. So we are titling it the Revenue Cycle Foundations course. So it's designed to be almost like a 101 boot camp, but our aim is to encourage you and not to yell at you all the time. So we're going to teach you how to, again, take control, learn the basics of the revenue cycle from start to finish. We'll take you through every facet of the revenue cycle, some tips and tricks that you can apply, and give you some tools to boost up your productivity. And then really just give you the nitty-gritty, so everything you need to know to be able to implement your own revenue cycle effectively.
Yes. And so with that all being said, let's just jump on into the framework for success model, or how we see that happening. So today Tina and I were talking about things that a person may deal with on a day-to-day basis, just in their regular life. And just so you know, I think it's really important for you to understand that our model is different than most, in that we from a very practical sense, show or share things that can happen in the course of your daily life, and how that same resolution that you have for addressing that particular situation is the same type of resolution model that you can use in business and at work. So I was talking to Tina today about my daughter. She was having some challenges. One of her close friends passed away, and so she was very upset. So and I was challenging her to look at things from a different perspective. And sometimes when you are in a conundrum of sorts, whether it's at work, you've got deadlines, you're finding that you keep having the same denial, and you've sent the claim back the way the insurance company told you to, but you still keep getting the same negative response, which is, nope, you're not getting paid today. So you have to find out within your framework, how do you create a sure shot way of success, or getting your team to look at things differently, to do things correctly. And in my case, how did I get my daughter to look at things differently?
Right, so it's shifting your perspective, because it makes no sense to keep doing what you're doing when it doesn't work, right? You're
That's right.
just perpetuating that hamster wheel. So how do you get out of that? How do you take a step back and look at your process and see what else you can do?
Right. And so your framework is just that. You look at what tools can I bring to this table so that I can resolve the issue. And that may be you may need to bring kindness to your framework, right? So in the case where you have an employee who's clearly demonstrating that there's something going on, perhaps in their personal life, and it's wreaking havoc on your workplace because they're not being so nice. They're speaking in harsh tones, kind of hollering. Or in the case where my daughter seemed like she was jabbing at me. So what did I do? So I said, what should you do? And my response is, let's present them with kindness. Let's talk to them in a way that may bring their tone down, help them to self-reflect, and to demonstrate kindness by doing that, talking to them in the tone that they can really appreciate and is warm and can shift the paradigm. So, Tina, you talked about an experience, you had, even this week, and how.
Right. So when we were discussing it, I had a little bit of a different take as well. So kindness not only extends to other people, like your employees, your teams, your families, whoever you come in contact with, but also, are you really being kind to yourself too? Because I know that I certainly struggle with this. I'm very type A, get it done. If I don't reach a certain goal, I'm very harsh with myself, and I'm a classic overachiever in that way. I always have been. But as I'm getting older and at this point in my life, trying out new things, I'm ready to just kind of, I'm always nice to everybody else, but I'm really mean to myself. So I'm ready to stop doing that and really just encourage myself to take a leap, like we're doing, and go after something new. And really, and you don't have to know everything from the get-go. You can just learn and course correct as you go. And at this point in my life, I'm ready to just give myself a lot of grace and go into things that are kind of unknown, but I know I'll figure it out along the way. And really just kind of letting go of things that I was telling Stacey that no longer serve me, that have been weighing me down for a long time. I've come through just recently some family crisis, some health and medical crisis that we've gone through just fine now. Now we're at the end of the tunnel. I'm letting go of past opportunities that no longer serve me, just really being clear on what I want at this time. And that is from a process of a lot of reflection. So one practice that I like to do, I call it my framework as well, is every morning I'll wake up, and then after the kids, whether they're settled or going to school or they're going to be on summer break soon, but I get my little cup of coffee, and then I have a journal that I use. So I call it, it's called the morning pages, so it's a pretty popular concept. But I just spend 30 minutes just dumping out whatever is in my brain, So it really helps to just clear out my head for the day. If anything is lingering there, I'll write it down, and it's very just stream of consciousness. So it can be anything. Sometimes it could be just the most littlest thing, and sometimes it could be really big. But also, even ideas for Rev'd Up have come out of those morning pages, because you'll just find ideas pop into your head. You write them down, and then you look at it later. You're like, wow, that's a really good idea. I need to save that in my back pocket and use it. So it really helps jumpstart your creativity too.
Yes. So the framework is, doing something different that will result in something better. So we have to be conscientious about, our time and our space. And our time is in the times that we're living in, what's going on in our space, the people who are around us. So at the workplace, is whether you're a leader or you're a staff person who may not be in leadership, but you are a leader. You've shown yourself to be professional, and you execute well. And one of the things that I know is when you begin to show kindness and compassion, and like Tina mentioned, like taking things off you that you shouldn't have on you in the first place. Like sometimes we carry, everything on our shoulders. Our children, it gets heavy,
even without you noticing.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to, be grounded and decide on what it is that you need to do or be doing to help yourself, so that you can help others. And it starts with being kind to yourself. And when you're kind to yourself, inevitably you'll be kind to others. And so that person who's going through something, whether it's somebody who's, grieving the loss of a person, or somebody who is having a hard time in the workplace understanding a concept, you just have to really be creative in helping to resolve things within the workplace with your staff, or if you're a staff person, so that you can be productive. And so nowadays we can't just expect people to show up for work ready to just jump in and get the job done. We have to understand that there are different dynamics that are creating people's frustrations, that are causing some hiccups in you being able to get things done in the workplace. So in this case, we're talking about get things done, get claims billed out properly, get that, stop having that same error message. But what's going on with your people, being in tune with yourself and with your people is big, so that you can build a framework. You want, kindness to be a part of your workplace. It starts with you. You want people to trust you. You want peace. You have to have peace.
Who wants to work in chaos?
Oh my gosh.
I definitely have felt that many times in my career, and it has never felt good whatsoever.
Right. And sometimes it means you've got to help more than you were accustomed to helping. But you can only help if you are okay. It's hard for you to help that man over there if you yourself need help. So first, there's one of the expressions, or one thing that flashes through my mind when I speak about helping others, before you help yourself. And you know how you're on the airplane, and the first thing that the airline stewardess, did I mention this before on another video?
I don't think so.
Okay. So one of the things, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't repeating myself. I do that sometimes because, you get older, you start repeating yourself. But it's all good. It's just reinforcement. But the airline stewardess tells you but if there's a drop in air pressure, I think I wanted to be an airline stewardess at one point in my life. No, maybe not. Yeah, she does all that. But if there's a drop in air pressure and you need to put your oxygen on, it says it'll drop down. You put it on yourself first. Secure the oxygen mask to your face first before you start helping Johnny, your child, or your sister, or your husband, or whatever. So what that means in real life and in a practice, example would be, make sure you're okay first. So that then you can help other people. you know, and if that means getting you some counseling, and I know that's another subject, but really, seriously, therapy is good. Right now, we're living in a time where everybody, you know,
everybody has
things are
something.
heavy.
Yeah, everybody has something that they're dealing with.
Yes.
I don't feel that there's any no problem whatsoever with talking to somebody.
Right. So, yes, so the framework that you build is going to be, it should be based on a foundation that you support, but because you've been supported. So you've received what you needed in your daily life, you know, inspiration, motivation, you know, you have the peace, you have the calm, you're kind to yourself so that you can just demonstrate those same things amongst your staff.
Right, it's like that adage, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? You have to pour into yourself first to be able to pour into others.
Yes.
And I think that also plays nicely well into another subject that we're talking about is training. Is that a form of kindness? And I would say it is. I would absolutely say it is, because say you hire a brand new employee, they're new to the industry, they're new to the job, but you don't give them any tools and you don't give them any expectations or you don't show them what to do. Really, are you being kind to them? Because they're just going to flounder, they're going to get frustrated, and you are not really setting them up for success. And it happens time and time again. So I would say the decision to invest in proper training is an act of kindness, because you're not only investing your time and your effort, but you're showing your employee, your team, that you care about their success too. You want to make sure that they really understand their role, what they're doing, or why they do the things that are in a certain order within their job or their organization. Do they really understand, you know, the culture of your organization or what's expected of them? What do you think?
I think, yes, absolutely. You can't, you know, expect from people, you can't expect people to deliver things, whatever that thing may be. You know, a clean, clear claim, you know, authorizations totally up to date and on each patient, if they've not been shown or given the tools that are necessary. And tools are coaching, you know, or training. And that is, you know, making sure that you sit them down and you have the package, or not the package, but that you have a clear way of providing training that every person within your organization receives, so that you're all on the same page. And so they have something to go back to later if they forget. You know, you want to be able to flip back. Do you have a manual that shows people how to do things? What's your best practices? And they can flip back, so that the accountability comes into play, because you know that you've given them the foundation, and you've actually given them the book of the foundational, you know, goals and objectives, and so they can't say they didn't receive it, and you know that you sat down with them to.
Right. I would say it's also you're helping to build their confidence in their role too. When someone feels confident, they naturally perk up. They want to do their job better because they know what they're doing. Some of it does come from just hands-on experience, but if you have that foundational background, you're good to go. Like, that's an awesome place to start.
Yes.
So having those systems in place, really making sure that you sit down with your teams and show them the way that things should be done to optimize your systems or your processes is really a great place to start. Because I think that a lack of self-confidence, a lack of training, ultimately breeds frustration.
Yes, I just 100% agree. So again, your framework for success within your organization, and it can link, and of course it should parallel with your framework for success in your home life. You know, the same types of strategies that you use at home could be, you know, mimicked in the workplace as a leader. You know, if you're showing your children kindness and you're taking the time to explain to them how to do it the correct way, it's the same premise that you should use in the workplace.
Right, and we have talked about this, or maybe we had alluded to it in either a prior video or some other messaging, but the idea of that Monday huddle, the team huddle that you do, and you see often at work where you
Mm-hmm.
gather all your team members, you just talk through issues. Why not bring that home, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And that's good. It's called, you know, you think about it in baseball, and that's, you know, my favorite. But, you know, who's on first, who's on second, who's on third, who's the pitcher, who's the catcher. Everybody has a role, and everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. So when people know what they're supposed to be doing, they're given the assignment, they have been trained and showed how to do it. It's being reinforced on a weekly basis, maybe even daily. You know, you have success. So, yes, I think, you know, it's important. Those weekly huddles, you know, just reinforce your framework. What is it that you want on your team? What do you want your people to look like? What do you want your people, how do you want them to flourish, you know, personally and professionally? What are you bringing to that table? Are you showing them how to be kind? Because you're being kind. Are you kind to yourself?
Exactly,
You know,
right. And
so-
seeing and pointing out, especially, and I do this with my children too, when it's going through positive reinforcement instead of negative.
Mhm.
So if you see something that your employees or your teams are doing really well, point it out to them.
Yes.
Because a lot of things sometimes go unnoticed, but
Mhm.
when somebody stops and really points out, like, hey, you did a good job here, or you really did a good job on this project, or whatever it may be, it's just like, wow, you know, they're
Mhm.
actually looking at me. They're looking at, you know, the good work that I'm doing.
Yes.
And it definitely gives them confidence.
It
I know
definitely does.
that for me, like, that affirmation has always
Yes.
helped.
Don't reward people with a whole bunch of work. Because that's a mistake that some leaders
Yeah.
make.
Yeah.
And that is, yes, we know things need to be done. Everybody has a purpose, and there is ultimately there is a goal for your organization, and for, you know, when we're specifically talking about, you know, claims or payment of claims, there's a goal. You know, how many claims are actually billed or charges are billed, and how much money you receive. Are your physicians happy because they've been paid on time? Hey, are they submitting their charges to you on time? So at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you are giving people, you know, those tools. The expectation is set, but your expectation is clearly set because you've told them, you've showed them, and of course there's a framework for that.
Right, you want everyone to be on that level playing field.
Mhm.
Like, don't drown your strongest people.
Right. You can't. Yeah, you see that they're doing a good job, and you're like, "Ooh, they did that good. Let's give them some more." You know, I mean, and granted, you can give them things, but balance it. You know, make sure that you're not overloading your team, because when you overload people, that's burnout. That's not kind.
Not at all.
It does not show kindness. So yes, you gotta, but you give praise often. That's kind. Giving compliments. That's kind. So what does kindness look like in your framework for success? I think is a question that we can leave with you, because it's important that you do have a framework, and that I believe one of the pivotal pieces to building a sound framework for success is by being kind.
Yep. And I would say we also have a framework for success. So if you want to learn more about it, check us out on our website, www.revdconsulting.com. We also post a lot of inspirational messages, and we like to act as your cheerleader, so follow us
Yes.
on social too.
Yes.
And one more thing, we also have like we mentioned before, a course coming out soon.
Yes.
That's going to be a Revenue Cycle 101 class. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for those. It'll be out soon.
Yes, we want to encourage you each and every time that we come and do our videos, because I think that is what is needed right now more and more. We both think that. Rev'd Up believes that. Helping, empowering people, you know, with positive messages, but not from a fluffy standpoint, but from a real, this is what we did.
Right.
And so we just want to give back or show or demonstrate what has helped us, so that you too can have the success that you're seeking. So I don't have anything else. Anything else, Tina?
I don't think so. Just thanks for listening to us,
Yes.
and I hope you get some good little nuggets out of here.
Yes.
And let's just keep up with the conversation.
Yes, and you'll see us next week. Our goal is to once a week, Sunday or Monday, or just depends on how things are going. Come jump on live here to share some good information pertaining to how to get your revenue cycle practice revved up. Have a wonderful Monday.
Yes.
Yes.
Have a good week too.
Yes. Take care. Bye.